Is your house getting that sinking feeling? We all know that homes have stress cracks. They tend to settle. But that settling should stop after a few years, and anything after that is real damage that needs to be addressed, especially if it's in the foundation. Wes Martin is one of the many experts. It's the basement doctor. He's here to help us take the stress out of our foundations. Wes, nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
You know, we had a discussion that I really didn't know much about. I always assumed that the reason some of the foundations start sinking and having problems is because of really wet weather. But the dry weather can have that same effect, apparently.
Yeah, that's correct. A lot of people think that. But when we have droughting conditions, like we've had really over the last couple months here, when we don't have that much moisture content in the soil, any foundations that are sitting in that zone that the moisture loses out of the soil can settle, unfortunately.
Really? And is the settling just in new houses? Can it also, if a house has been built 20, 30 years ago, can the impact of the climate then still have an effect on those houses?
Yeah, absolutely. It's shocking, but we have many clients say, gosh, I've had the home for 30 years. It's never, isn't it done? With these kind of soil that we have here in Central Ohio, it can affect even older homes.
So what are some signs that people might know that there's a problem going on?
Well, like if your windows don't open, if you have cracks at the corners of the windows is a really good sign that maybe
in the wall around the window you're talking about?
Yeah, and like in the drywall, where your doors don't stick, or if your block foundations or your brick have cracks in the mortar joints.
And that would be on the outside of the house that you can see that?
That's right. Sometimes in the inside in the basement.
But mostly something, oh, okay, this is an inside basement wall. I'm trying to decide if it's inside, outside, but that's what you don't want to see. Especially
in a crawl space. That's usually the areas that we have to repair.
So how do you repair these kinds of problems? Because that looks, that's a pretty big crack. That's not a hairline fracture there.
Right. Well, first thing we want to do is we always want to make sure we go in and analyze the condition of the issue first, so that we can tell a client, hey, you have a serious problem or something that you can monitor. But then, if it is something that needs our attention, then we would have to typically use a system called Piering, which is, for no better term, just large screws that are screwed into deeper soils that stilt and support the foundations.
So this is what we're looking at, and it goes really along the outside of the house, a bit away from the foundation?
Typically directly underneath the foundation itself, and most of our projects are able to be done reasonably simply and generally in 2 or 3 days. Well, in some cases we do, but most of my clients feel like their foundation is more important than their bushes.
Sometimes you have to make those choices. Do you want the house to sink, or do you want to lose a shrub?
It's a choice.
It's a choice. How often do you have to do something like this? And what happens, I should say, if you don't?
Well, as far as often, this time of year we call our Piering season. Is when we've had a drought in the summer and these things are starting to affect, and we have more and more of our clients, unfortunately for them, having to call us. But we have done over 2,500 projects just here locally.
Wow.
Probably in the last 10 years.
And if they don't do it, what happens?
Well, they could put their head in the sand and try to ignore it, but a lot of bad things can happen, and the fact that, for one, you're going to lose property value in an age that you can't right now.
Then it's,
and it can affect, the upstairs roofing. It can affect the drywall.
Because then the whole house is off kilter when that happens?
It starts shifting, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you will come out and check someone's home to find out problems for them and recommend, right? And this is at no charge for customers?
That's exactly right. Of course, we stay in business by doing these projects, but our goal is to come out and help our clients. And, it's just as simple as calling us. We have an 800 number. It's an 877 dry time. And you can call us anytime, and we'll do the best we can to help you.
That's some good information. And some folks should call, if they're thinking about it, better now than later, because you can prevent further damage if it's done early enough, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here, Wes. Thanks. I love it when I learn something new every day. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.